My name is Rob Wunderlich. I'm a well-known independent Qlik consultant and the publisher of QlikView and some tools like Document Analyzer. So I've been using QlikView and Qlik products since 2006 and love them all. I was first introduced to NodeGraph. I think I stumbled across it in a tweet, and then followed up on the website. Thought this is something that I've been looking for. So for years for a number of years, I've been creating lineage tools for my customers, which was always a big need in QlikView and in Qlik Sense, but primarily QlikView at the time. One of the drawbacks, though, was that the lineage information available in Qlik was very limited, and it wasn't always complete. There was some flaws in the lineage system. It was kind of added after the fact. So I was never really that satisfied with the applications. I did the best I could. Customers got what they could out of it. But one of the things that was really missing, in addition to accuracy, was field level data. People need to know, where does this field come from? How did it get here? What transformations did it go through? And when I saw a NodeGraph solution, I thought, this is it. This is brilliant because it nails that specific problem. So up to that point, it was file level lineage, which is somewhat useful, but it's not really what the business needs. The business needs to be able to say with confidence, where does this field come from? And also going back the other direction, what's the impact if I change this source data? What apps do I need to visit? What apps might need to change? So when I first saw it, I thought, this is it. This is the solution I've been looking for. And then I was also struck by the interface. I thought the interface was beautiful and easy to use, and which I thought was going to make it, give it really good adoption and make it easy for people to use. There's a couple things that I would have never thought of, like the one-click documentation, that I thought, oh, that's brilliant. And at first I thought, who wants that? But when I started showing it to customers, they were all, this is great, we love this. I've seen a lot of customers that I visited where everybody has to produce documentation, and I can see that nobody ever looks at that documentation. It's a requirement. And I'm not saying nobody's looking at the documentation, isn't going to look at the one-click documentation, but the difference is the accuracy. People begrudgingly created documentation, and it got out of date really quick. So if somebody was really using it for audit or governance purposes, it really wasn't of that much value. So I love that part about the product. Why does the industry, why do customers need field level data lineage? Because they are working with data, they're working and making decisions in the business intelligence area based on operational data. And they need to know that that operational data, that those decisions they're making, that information they see on the dashboard reflects their understanding of the operational data. They understand the operational data. The idea behind business intelligence is to give them some intelligence and enhance their understanding and use of that operational data. But without the ability to map that back to their understanding of the operational data and the confidence that they can do that clearly and the trust, they're really not sure what they're looking for in a dashboard. So they can look at numbers on a dashboard, and it can say that dashboard can give them a metric and give them some recommendation or some understanding. But if they're not confident that that truly reflects the operation, they won't necessarily trust it. And the truth is that as BI designers, we can make mistakes. Those mistakes come from just human mistakes, they can come from misunderstandings. So we can produce results that say, here's the answer. And when we get into the discussion with the business user and they start to question that, it doesn't look quite right to them, we need to be able to clearly and efficiently have that conversation to follow their training. We can't just tell them it's right because I say it's right, or it's wrong because they say it's wrong. We need to really have a two-way discussion about my understanding of the data, whether I'm an employee or a consultant, and answer their questions. So that field level lineage is critical to that, to build trust in these BI stuff that's used for decisions. I think everybody's talking about the same thing. They're using different terms. When we say data lineage, it sounds very technical and sort of wonky. What we're really talking about is trust in the data. that the data that I'm presenting as a consultant or that appears in the dashboard reflects the operational nature of the business. Most businesses don't make money from BI. They're involved in some other activity, and this is purely a support activity. And so I think they do appreciate, the business appreciates the need for data lineage. They just don't call it data lineage, they call it trust. They say, I want to know that these numbers are correct, that they reflect not only that the numbers themselves have the right values, but that they reflect the business objectives and that they're useful to the business. So data lineage is just a tool that provides that trust and provides the two-way communication between the technician and the business, and then maintains that communication and maintains that trust. So I think it's really just a matter of nomenclature. Data lineage sounds sort of scary and very scientific, but it really is just all about trust. In Qlik products, particularly, my experience has been primarily QlikView, but this is also true in Qlik Sense. It's very, very flexible. And because of that flexibility, you can get things done very quickly, which makes it in some ways better than other products or easier to use. That flexibility is also a curse, because that product doesn't require you to build up a data dictionary or semantic or formal definitions in advance. It means that when you decide you need those, they're lacking because you haven't been forced to do that before generating content. So you can generate content before governance, you can generate content before discipline, and that may be fine if you're doing 1 or 2 apps. Maybe that's great, but as customers scale up and get more and more apps, then they start getting into some of the same issues that they may have had with Excel, where they have data all over, they start to lack trust, it starts to become very inefficient. People are afraid to make changes. I need to change this database table, but I'm afraid to because I don't know the impacts, or it's very difficult to make changes. So governance tends to come in later in QlikView. And it's true that not everybody needs it, but most customers who are successful with Qlik eventually need it. But it's after they've grown and they define what scope of governance do they need. And I think the brilliance of NodeGraph is it is this after-the-fact product that comes in. You don't have to go back and redesign your apps or change your apps. It goes in and scans what's actually there. And I've seen other solutions where it's an idea of sort of creating spreadsheets and using them to drive the process or collecting documentation. Those either create very difficult requirements in the development side, a lot of overhead, or they become out of date because they're manually collected. So the brilliance to me of saying, I'm just going to scan the environment, and when the environment changes, I'm going to pick that up. So to me, that's what makes it an ideal solution. It fits any scale of customer deployment, and a customer can bring it in when they see the value for it, when they see the need. There you go.
That's really good. Yeah, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.